Hi guys, welcome to spring and to this impromptu, well not impromptu, spontaneous discussion of the Sparks Change Challenge, including my little announcement of how I'm putting Sparks well and truly into action for myself and for my family. And apologies for starting this one a bit late. We lost our therapy lizard today, and things are a little bit all over the place from that. But it also meant I didn't get, well, I tried to sit down and actually write what I was going to talk about tonight and how I was going to put it all together, and didn't really get the chance to do that. But then thought, no, like, I think maybe talking off the cuff is a good way to cover some of this stuff, because it's going to be an ongoing process. I think Sparks is something I'm really proud of, and very proud for dreaming up. Something that I'm going to use with my clients and my supervisees forever, I would imagine, unless I come across something that I think fits equally well. And I think the reason that it works for me, and I can only speak, for me at this point, but the reason that it works is because it fits in with the way that I think about client work, with the way that I think about, well, not the way that I think about self-care, because up until this month, this was not the way that I thought about self-care at all. It addresses the problems in how I used to think about self-care. It is adaptable, it's completely customizable, and it moves away from that all or nothing thinking when it comes to self-care. When I was talking about this with Matt earlier, hello Matt, thanks for joining, he said it's the difference between fitting in time for a bubble bath versus giving yourself a pat on the back for just getting a shower in that day. And I think that's that's a good summation of the Sparks Change Challenge, and the takeaway for me around, if we really want to take care of ourselves, just like we always say with our clients, just if you've worked with one autistic client, it means you've worked with one person with autism. It doesn't mean you know anything about every single person with autism. And just because you've read a self-care book, or you're really good at going to the gym or attending your supervision, or you're really good in sort of one domain that you point at and go, hey, that's my self-care, that's what I'm doing. It doesn't mean that there aren't areas that could be boosted, could be improved upon. And I like the dynamic nature of Sparks. I like that I really do feel like they all kind of feed and integrate with each other. And again, that makes sense, because you're going to need different things on different days and different weeks, different months, depending on what else is going on. But at its core, and this is what I kept coming back to, and why it, I don't know, finally clicked, that just like we talk about in therapy and the 5-factor model, that that idea that it's not the individual modality, it's not the individual theory that you're working to that is responsible for creating the most change or allowing the most change to occur with your client. It's the relationship, it's the therapeutic relationship, being there, validating, being that, in that non-judgmental, unconditional positive regard, giving them that that unconditional support of, your experience matters. What you and what happened to you and has happened to you and is happening to you, they're equally important. But what happened is not the only thing. That sense of self that we see, really lacking in so many clients, because they've never had anyone pay any attention to them properly. They've never had anyone validate them for just being them, and how how amazing it is when they finally click that I think maybe this person just likes me for me. That's all. That's relational. That's about giving that, you know, in schema terms, it's that limited reparenting. It's giving them what they missed out on when they were growing up. And again, if, like most therapists, you've got, you know, you've struggled with self-sacrificing tendencies, unrelenting standards, then the chances are pretty good it's because you missed out on some of that good enough parenting when you were a kid. And this is your chance to give yourself what you missed out on. And what you missed out on is going to be different to what I missed out on, is going to be different to whoever missed out on. So the fact that Sparks is so adaptable and so flexible and allows you to focus on the bits that you need when you need it, but still having them all integrated, I think is a really useful way to think about self-care. I certainly now, this all started because I had my eye roll moment for International Self-Care Day, all the way back in July, and thinking, well, that's not good. If I'm all about burnout prevention, then I should probably also be pro self-care. But the way that self-care is generally talked about, the way that self-care is generally handled, had just never resonated for me, had never clicked for me, and most of the time just felt like one more thing that I was doing wrong. And this has taught me and shown me, even with some of my clients, you know, that moment yesterday with Sophie and the humpening, that connection between spontaneity and safety and kindness, and how it's very hard to have one of those without the other things. But as you increase one of those, the others come along and increase as well. So yeah, I suppose my reflection is, or my summation of my reflection is, that this is definitely something that I'm going to keep doing personally. It's definitely something that I'm going to keep in mind when I'm, you know, next time I look at my diary and think, you know, if someone says, can I book in with you next week? And I look at my diary and see that it's full, and have that moment of like, oh, I could probably squeeze them in there, or that relationship with my inner child, that relationship with myself is going to come into the equation now, is going to be factored into the equation. And I can't guarantee what the outcome will be every single time, but I feel like I can guarantee that I will at least consider that inner child part. I will at least consider what this is doing for Sparks, and it's definitely going to be a shift. It's definitely going to be a shift for me, to consider myself in the equation at all, and somehow doing it in terms of that relationship between myself and the inner child has sort of given me permission to count that, which is quite nice. Hey Caroline, thank you for joining. So this brings me to my announcement, and this is something that was in the works before the Sparks challenge started, but it's definitely something that the Sparks challenge has helped me to manage and deal with and cope with much better. So for those who don't know, I started 12-point psychology in 2016, and it was me, two registrars and another psychologist. We had our practice manager, Trish, and we were working out of the Crown Court location, which is just a 2-room practice, waiting room, 2 consulting rooms, and a bunch of therapy dogs. That was us. Then over the course of that year, Trish in particular did her job a little bit too well. We got very popular and very busy, and about a year in had to kind of decide, all right, are we going to consolidate things and just focus on Crown Court and the 2 rooms and the people that we have, or are we going to expand? Are we going to get a bit bigger? And I made the classic mistake that so many private practice owners make. I went, yeah, let's expand what we've got here. That's scalable. We can take what we've got here and make it bigger, and it will be just as good. and if we're already doing well at this size, then getting bigger, that can only be better, right? And not considering the impact of going from managing quite a small team to managing quite a large team. At one point we had 20 clinicians and 5 admin staff, and the 2 locations, and it was a lot of work. I gradually scaled back seeing my own clients. I gradually scaled back seeing my own supervisees, and my full-time job really was just looking after the practice, managing the staff, managing the contractors, recruitment, marketing, all of that kind of stuff, which was fine, and which I enjoyed, and gave me a lot of skills and a lot of practice, and taught me a lot about myself and business in general, and yeah, the psychology business in particular. Then a year ago we moved from, our second location was in Burwood Highway. We closed that and moved to Bayswater so that we would have a bit more flexibility and a bit more space for the different contractors. But this year in particular, it really started to become clear how much of my time I was spending on the business management side of things, and how little time I had for client work and for supervision work, and that I wasn't enjoying that the same way that I had at the start. As we've talked about, I've got some health issues going on, and I don't have as much energy. I don't have as many spoons week to week, and it was getting harder and harder to run the business and manage the business in the way that I wanted to run and manage the business. And after a lot of deliberation and a lot of talks with our business coach, and between Matt and myself, and from some very generous and close colleagues, we've decided that we're going to go back to Crown Court. 12-point psychology from January next year. 12-point psychology will be just at Crown Court. Will just be the 2-room practice. It'll be Matt, myself, Trish. Trish will be sticking around, but in more of like an office manager type of role, admin and office manager, and probably one other registrar will be coming with us as well. This means that the Bayswater rooms will be changing from the group private practice to being a hub. It'll be known as 12 Points Connect, and we'll basically be renting rooms to allied health professionals, which I'm excited about, because it means I finally get one of the things that I had always wanted to do but never quite managed, was get to create more of a multidisciplinary space. But as the practice director, I'd never felt quite comfortable bringing on OTs or speechies or dietitians if I couldn't also offer them the same sort of supervision and support that I could offer the therapists who were coming on board. And so we stuck to therapists, and this way everyone will be working out of Bayswater, will be running their own businesses. The rooms will be known as 12 Points Connect, but it won't be 12 Point Psychology. There won't be any admin support that we're providing. There won't be any direct referrals that we're providing. Everyone will be running their own businesses out of that space, and I'm really looking forward to it. It was a massive decision, and it's been a very, very difficult transition. As you can imagine, lots of big conversations with the contractors, with the staff, for the employees in particular. This is a huge change to them and to their relationship with us and the practice. We're hoping for the clients it won't be too much of of a struggle or a change, because they'll still be able to see their own clinicians. They'll either see them at Bayswater under 12 Points Connect, or some of the clinicians who are choosing to go out on their own elsewhere, they'll still be able to see them. Everyone's keeping their existing client load. But yes, this long time coming, very difficult decision. And prior to this month, prior to August and the challenge, I would say my dominant emotion was 90% guilt and 10% excitement. Thanks, Caroline. Caroline says, this all sounds wonderful. What a brave decision that truly is self-care in action. 12 Points Connect. What a great name. Bravo you. Thank you. That is very kind. It really is, and I think that's what came out of my reflections on the challenge over the month was this was probably the first time in my entire life that I said, no, this is what I need. And I know this is going to disappoint some people, and it did. And I know this is going to hurt some people, and it did. And I regret that. I feel sorry for that, but I know it was the right thing to do. I 1000% know it is the right thing to do. And it's something that I needed to do. I'm looking forward next year to having more time to spend with my own clients and doing more supervision, doing more things like this, concentrating more on the webinars and the training side of things as well. And not having to worry about the day-to-day minutiae of running a clinic and managing that many staff. And I hope for what a lot of the contractors and the employees have said is that in some cases it was sort of the push they needed to figure out what they wanted to do. And I think it's too easy to get not stuck in a rut, but certainly get comfortable and stay comfortable. And Sparks as well for me has meant looking at all of that stuff, looking at your day-to-day life and what you're doing, and really evaluating, am I doing what sparks joy? Am I doing what feels good? Am I doing what aligns with my values? Am I doing what makes sense to me? Because none of us know, how much time we've got left. None of us know, certainly 10 years ago, if you had said that I was going to be dealing with relapsing polychondritis and I wouldn't be able to be working 80 hours a week and not even feel it. And, our idea of a holiday, I used to call it speed vacation, where we would fly in somewhere on a Friday night. We would do everything on Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, fly home Sunday night and back to work on Monday. That was our idea of a vacation. If you had told me back then that I would be at the point where I'm like, no, I'm gonna cut down my hours, I'm gonna cut down the amount of running around and responsibility I need to have, and I'm gonna focus on doing the work that I really, really enjoy, and on what my body and my brain needs right now, I would never have believed you. I reckon a year ago, if you had said that, I wouldn't really have believed you. So, but it has all kind of, like I said, it all seems to have come at the right time. And now, instead of being sort of 90% guilt, 10% excitement about what's to come, I reckon it's 90% excitement. And there's 10% of still, it's not even guilt. It's just, I suppose it's just that sense of, well, if I didn't have to worry about the health stuff, would I still be doing this? I don't know. And obviously wishing that part wasn't the case, but the guilt isn't there, because I'm doing, I think I'm doing self-care right, finally. It's taken me 40 something years, but better late than never. And I hope that for all of the people that have been, directly affected by the decision, I hope that at least some of them can see it that way and think about that when they're, when they're setting themselves up for for next year. We've already had conversations. You know, one of them said, I won't bother getting a new phone. I'll just use my personal phone. I'm like, no, wait, boundaries, safety, boundaries. Do you want your clients having your personal phone? Do you want to not be able to turn off your personal phone? Or do you want to have to turn off your personal phone on the weekends so you're not getting work calls on the weekends and that kind of stuff? So we're making it part of the conversation and in terms of helping these contractors and employees set themselves up for the future. Using some of these as guidelines seems to be working quite effectively as well. Thinking about, you know, have you looked ahead and booked off some time to have, you know, admin only weeks where you just catch up on paperwork? Have you looked ahead and booked out some time where you're going to take time off? Have you looked ahead and considered, you know, started working out what numbers you need to collect so you can set some achievable goals and then measure if you're achieving them? It seems to be a really good framework for setting up for sustainability as well. So yeah, like I said, good timing in that respect. And I do look forward to what's to come next year, but it has definitely been a big shift, and I have to, at least in part, credit the SPARKS challenge for that, and for the mindset shift that accompanied that. So that's it from me for tonight. I am certainly not going to let the SPARKS stuff lapse or disappear for myself, and I am quite sure that you'll be hearing lots and lots more about SPARKS in this Facebook group and with the different webinars and things, because I really do feel incredibly passionate about this approach and for what it can mean for therapists in particular and healthcare workers in general when it comes to learning to look after themselves as well as they look after their clients. Thank you very much, everybody who has joined live tonight. That is lovely. And thanks to everyone who has participated, who's done the survey, who's commented and shared how they've been applying some of the SPARKS aspects for themselves. I really appreciate that. And I will let you know when the self-paced program is ready, and I will let you go off and enjoy a fabulous weekend now. Thanks, Caroline. And thank you, everybody. See you next time.